Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SKTV. Wherever you are today, we want to welcome you. Today is Saturday, the 27th of August, 2022. We want to welcome you. Welcome to SKTV. As you are coming on, we ask that you please help us share the show, invite someone, let them know that we are here today in an interview slash conversation with uh, Madame Her Excellency MacDella. I hope I pronounced her middle name well. Makie Cooper. Um, she's not a stranger to SKTV. She's been here before, and so this time around, we're going to pick off from where we stopped. So we want to welcome each and every one of you, especially those of you listening and watching us from Liberia, those of you watching us from True FM 98.6. We want to welcome each and every one of you. Let's bring in Melbourne. Melbourne, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, most definitely. And our frequency is 96.1.
96.1.
So
Sorry,
I
I
want to
always
say
mix me up.
good evening. It's in the evening time here. Yeah, you don't want me so I can find you, but anyway, have it. I try to forgive it because of that kind of video coming for soup. There's too many videos, but that video too interesting.
Yeah, they kinky
Yeah,
linking
so
so, right?
what? My man, no, that song, that bomb. What?
So how you beginning?
Yeah, seriously. But
Yes, but
anyway, today is Saturday. Mhm. Steve,
go
today
ahead,
is
please.
Saturday, and actually, it's raining here. Since this morning, the rain been falling. And up to now, the rain still falling. So it's raining heavily here in Liberia, especially in the capital city here in Liberia. So on the 27th day in the month of August, and in fact today is Saturday. So let me say thanks to all of you that in fact that are listening to this video, and also for those of you that are also following the SKTV. I don't know whether you just coming or you've been there maybe for about minutes ago, because I think 2 minutes ago, right? So
Yes.
Steve, I want to say yeah, it's in the evening time. I don't know from the end, and let me say good evening to you.
Yes. Thank you, Melbourne. It's good being back on SKTV. I know I've been in and out here and there. It's been a little busy here with me, but it's good to be back on to our viewers and our listeners in Liberia around the world. We want to say welcome. As we said earlier, we want to, as always, recognize the Liberian people. We believe that they're the most important people on earth. Um, you might have your view, but that's what we believe. We also believe that the Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. As evidenced by that, I don't think Milborn can argue that, because if he were
No,
to argue that, then he would be in trouble and in situation he can handle.
exactly,
But we want to
and
welcome you. Go ahead, please.
no, yeah, no. You were talking, so just go ahead. When you finish them, I'm going to talk.
So,
I
so,
guess
so
you, yeah,
you agree with me that Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth?
exactly. And there's no if and if about that, because even
Exactly.
our guest on today, she can even prove that.
Why are you trying to pile up evidences here? And we get into it. I've challenged them men and I can be arguing with some of us. Today, let them go argue
Oh,
here. Let them argue. Let us see today. Today I'm about setting for them. It's easy. I want to put you in
I
situation.
know.
You call yourself real quick.
No way,
I
but
don't
no
know.
me. I can't. I know, but you know, like you can't catch me, Steve.
Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, please let's share the show. Invite someone. Let someone know we are about to get started here. And guess what happened, Melbourne? Uh,
What?
today, today,
Mm.
uh, today, hopefully our guest will be able to interpret this song for us that no one has been
Hmm.
able to interpret. You know that
Okay.
that Friday song that the men have struggled with. They've not had the opportunity
Okay.
to, So that song today, hopefully our guest, that the song we can play before we share the show and then get to the
Mm.
situation here. So we are looking
Mm.
forward to our guest being able to interpret that song, for us today so that we can know what's going on. But let's share the show, guys. It's good to be back. Good to see everyone. Welcome, welcome, and welcome this morning here in Arizona. The time here is 11:08 a.m. Please welcome everyone. Share the show. Invite someone. let's get started. We will quickly get to the musical break here as we have our guest in the back. She has been here on time from the get-go. She has been here, so we want to make sure that we get her on and get this going so that we can move up and move on to what we have to do for the rest of the day. So let's get to our musical break here really, really quick. Remember, unless you have something else to add up before we get to the musical break, we want to say we are getting to the musical break.
Except, in fact, I just want to say thank you to our people out there, especially in the diaspora. So like sharing the show, a lot of us, for us as people to be aware as to what's happening here in Liberia. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's get to the musical break really quick. Share the show, guys. Thank you. Right, let's take it from there. We're 9 minutes past the hour here. Again, we want to welcome each and every one of you, those of you listening to us from Liberia, stay on, as you will have the opportunity to ask questions and be a part of the show. We want to quickly turn in here to our guests and invite our guests on as we get started with the program here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Madam MacDella Cooper. How are you?
Very well. How are you, Steve? And Mayborn? Good to be here with both of you.
Yes, all right. I'm doing great here in Liberia, even though it's raining day and it's wet Saturday.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. But your internet is doing very well, so we're all good.
Yes, that's good.
Well, we want to welcome you back to SKTV. Welcome. I know you're not a stranger here. You've been here before. Welcome back to SKTV.
Thank you, Stephen. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Great. Just before we start the conversation, we both said that we told the people that you would come finally and interpret a song for us because the men have been coming, they can interpret a song. Yeah, so we say finally maybe some kind of woman will come and interpret this song for us and get me really fun. So what you say about this song? Yeah, what are you saying?
Stevie, they want you out there listen to that song. I didn't even hear Goose. So that one I get interpretation. They want, I guess, it's a gender balance. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm able to interpret the song. I listen. I can go play. I can go look for Friday on YouTube now to go listen to exactly what he's saying in that song.
Yeah, because they think so yeah, we gotta bring some kind of men or go to interpret this, some politician they gotta interpret for us.
But let me ask you something, Stevie and Mabel. That what kind of that dollar they men speak on that English?
I think that
That one, it's not my dollar. That grip over there. I thought I was talking about grip song. You asked me to translate.
Myself, I wonder as to what kind of because that kind of data is not easy. Well, I don't know where you borrow it from.
Exactly. I heard small French inside, but then I said, wait, the guy can speak small French too. So I said, down Grebo, down Pele, down French. But I heard something like French, but inside small.
Exactly.
So
I don't really know.
Wow. So this song here, nobody. Wait a minute.
But Stevie, you know the song. You know the interpretation for the song.
We've been having different definitions here, so I just confused.
Because they told me, say Stevie said you were asking to interpret something like a song. So I went on. So I listened to all the Grebo song there. I read the guy trying to interpret my Grebo. Now you can't bring different song to me today. Look at that boy. So.
Okay, what we'll do, we'll keep it for the third time you come.
That's right.
Yeah,
and you asked me the first time. That's true.
Yeah, so the third time, if you can't settle the matter here,
that would not be welcome back to the show no more.
No, we have to protest. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We want to welcome each and every one of you. Continue to share the show here as we'll get into the conversation really, really quick. I'd like to kickstart the conversation by asking you to please reintroduce yourself to us and to the public because sometimes we have new followers. Sometimes we have people who, are joining us from other parts of the world, even though they're Liberians.
Right.
What do you say? Who's MacDella Cooper?
Sure. Well, Stephen, once again, thank you for having me back on the show. SKTV is it feels like family now, and no stranger here. Maybon, again, once again, thank you for your participation, your technical support in making this show happen. And I know we'll be joined by the rest of the crew later on. But my name is MacDella Cooper. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a politician and an activist. I started my early years. I was born and raised right here in Monrovia, and as a small child was taken to my great-grandparents to reside with them because my mom was a young woman who could not, particularly care for me. She had to go back to school after my birth. And so she gave me to her grandparents to live with. And so I was raised by my great-grandparents, which are my mother's grandparents in Yinakan, River G. I soon went to Monrovia in the mid-'80s. I attended Jimmy Jilokon, and then 1990, I was enrolled in Cathedral High School, and then the war started. I was about 13 years old in 6th grade at the time. So the war started, and we all went our separate ways. I ended up in a refugee camp in Danane at the border of Liberia, and then in a few months, we were able to go to Abidjan. When we finally was able to get sorted, we went to Abidjan to start our immigration process to come to the United States with many other Liberian refugees that were looking to be migrated to the United States. So that was the opportunity of a lifetime. I came to America on an immigration visa, and I got a green card. And I went to Barry Ranger High School, where I obtained my, senior, I guess I would say my education. from 10th to 12th grade. And then from there, I was so poor in Newark, I didn't have any money because my mom was in America, but she was cleaning people's houses to put one meal on the table for us in America and living on food stamps. That was the life I came and met. And Newark at the time was the city with the highest crime rate in the United States of America. And we just came from a war. We met all these young people. It was just unfortunate. It was just the situation that people found themselves in. And we came from Africa as refugees. We found ourselves in that same situation. So long story short, my life story, I went from there, from Barringer. I got a full academic scholarship. I graduated number 3 in my class of 1,200 students. They both said, "Oh, you poor, you black woman, you black girl, you smart, so we'll get you scholarship to go to college." So I got my little 4-year scholarship to go to any college of my choice in the state of New Jersey. I chose the College of New Jersey, and I went there and got my degree, my bachelor's degree. And then before I even graduated from college, the people hired me. They carried me to New York City to go work in corporation there. And so I work in New York, and during the time of working there, then I started the MacDella Foundation in the early 2000s. And this foundation has since brought back a lot of opportunity to Liberia to support young people, education. I'm huge on education because I think education is the way to create anything we want within our country. So I invested heavily in education, and then eventually I ran for office in 2016, 2017 election. But then since the election, I've been doing a lot of business in the region, in the West African region, coordinating investments with governments or private sector, whether it's PPP or it's private sector. We've been coordinating investment across the West African region and other parts of Africa as well. So that's most of the work I do. I'm still involved in education. I still have students that I support, and we send students over to Europe for exchange programs. We send over students over to other African countries. But just all I do what I do just to make other young people in Liberia better than what MacDella could ever be. That's my goal. Create a better life for others that I couldn't do for myself or couldn't create for myself.
Okay. Create a better life for others that you couldn't create for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is SKTV. If you're listening to us via the radio in Liberia, stay tuned. I'd like to corroborate some of the things you said, because it's one thing for politicians to say something, but it's another thing to corroborate some of these facts.
Right.
To double check on some of the things people say, because this is how we start to hold people accountable. And
accountable, absolutely.
Yes, I think all of us should start doing that. So we went back to double check some of the things you said here. We went back to double check. Yeah, it is truth, because in 2007 you had I'm not sure if it was an interview or it was you were displaying yourself, who you are, to the public and to the world. Mm-hmm. And this interview was conducted by TCNJ magazine.
Yeah, that's right.
It was conducted in the spring of 2007. Mm-hmm. And we went through what you've said, similar thing you just said here. Mm-hmm. Very competitive. In high school, and I think I made a joke about it earlier on that some of the guys felt intimidated or so forth. I was making a joke about it, and you've kept pushing on since then. But right. Something caught my attention in the article that was written about some of the things that you said. I thought to ask you about a little bit for some clarity here. In as much that you were doing all of these things, and you were, leaving high school and going to college and so forth, something you said that caught my attention, and I want to read from there. This is what you said. Quote, one of the Cooper's first step was to make contact with the man who heads the United Nations in Liberia. He made sure that increasing number of supplies sent from the United States to Liberia actually reached their intended destinations. Mm-hmm. Now, this is what you said in the paraphrase or quotation. My worst fear, Cooper said, was that all the clothes, alcohol, school supplies, and etc. that we had worked so hard to collect would end up being sold on the open market. What do you mean by that? Or what did you mean by that back then?
Right. Well, we started a foundation by sending resources to Liberia. And when I took my first trip, So we'll pack up barrels and boxes and whatever and put it in containers. In other people container, with multiple items inside, and our stuff will be labeled to the MacDella Cooper Foundation. When we send those items, there was a team on the ground that was at the receiving end that would distribute those items. And my fear was I had to go to Liberia to make sure that those items were actually reaching the folks it was intended for, versus just, let's just send things and check and say we send some things to Liberia, helping Liberia or Liberian people. But we wanted to make sure it was going to the people it was intended for, which are those who are in need of them, the people we supported. And we had come to Liberia in 205, I would say 2005. We came, we saw that some orphanages that we're working with, when you send things to them, when you come in, they'll put the clothes on the children, make the children look good. When you leave, they take everything away from the children and pack it or go sell it. And this is not the agenda we had set up for, because I don't know how many young people living the life I was living that would take their life and designate it, or just give it away to serve others. There are a lot of young people who want to have party, who want to go out and do things and find their own life, work and make their own money. But I had dedicated my life towards helping the kids, the children left behind that society they didn't want, the women who were living in conditions that were not conducive, and so we were trying to help those demographic or that particular demographic. So I want to make sure when we collect one dress, one canned goods, when we collect $1, it must go to the people who needed the most, not for somebody else to sell it and put the money in their pocket. So that was my comment made in an article in 2007.
So what was it that you didn't trust your staff members to deliver it?
Not at all. We had seen firsthand that some orphanages, some organizations that said they were helping people, they weren't helping people. They were pocketing everything. You see, we want to take children off the streets of Monrovia or Liberia and clean them up, put them in a direction where they will become you or me, or like I said, better than me. We didn't want people who would just be playing on the children, using them for child labor, using them to beg people for money, using them for whatever. We wanted to make sure we took those children out of the conditions they were in and put them in the right direction to obtain a college degree, perhaps, and be able to be a contributing member to the development of our country. That's what we wanted. So it wasn't that we didn't trust our people, but we want to make sure I can trust my children, but we'll still do check and balances. We still do our due diligence. And so in the process of making sure things were done properly, we had to check up and make sure the kids were moving from street kids living in homes. They were eating their 3 meals per day. They were going to school because we were paying the tuition. And then they move on to middle school and high school, and then eventually to college. That's the direction the direction we wanted to go into.
Okay, great. So then this would clear the doubt that some people might claim that MacDella Cooper and Jay won't come around and to be president. They haven't done anything for the country. So that means, in other words, you have been working even long before 2017 or 2023.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're insinuating?
Absolutely, Steve. The foundation was built. It was started in 2003.
Right.
And we launched the foundation in 2004. 2005, I took my first trip home because that's when the election time was over now, in December. We met the people we were supporting, the people who were sending us letters asking for our support. We met our team on the ground. 2005 now opened the way for us to go back and forth. So I've been working since 2003, I would say. But 2005 was when I really returned home after the time I was forced out of the country because my father was killed and I didn't know who came up. That wartime, everybody was running for their own life now. So you couldn't stay there and say, I'm going to prove to people, everybody that I real Liberian, so I will stay here and get killed. If I don't get killed, then I really test and prove my citizenship to it. No, that's idiocy. You stay in the war, you get killed, but instead you leave. When things are better, you come home. So when things were safe for me to come back home, I came back home, and I've been working since I came home in 2005.
Okay, yeah, because the article that's published here did state that the MacDella Foundation started off in 2003.
Right.
So then you started off the work and so forth. So we can check mark on these things. But I wanted to push this a little further just before we dive into the politics of the day. I want to push these things a little bit further. What does that say about the mindset of maybe the politicians who ran this country from 2005 up until today, namely President George Weah, current president, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Joseph Yuma Boakai, and Joy Howard Taylor, considering they were either in the Senate or they were in the executive branch of government. What does that say? Because with all of the supplies, with everything that you and others must have contributed to the country, including some of us, what does that say about the leadership, or what does that say? Are we retrogressing?
Well, that's a great question, Steve. And I think each person will answer for themselves. But what we saw, we were coming out of a civil war. The country was in a condition that was just deplorable. You had a new government, which was led by Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and her administration, came in to try to do what they could do with what we had on hand and what was being donated through aid or through charitable means. They were using what they had in their war chest, in their little, let's say, their piggy banks to sort of bring the country back to where it needed to be. And so we, the humanitarians, the philanthropists, came in. You had the senators. You mentioned Vice President Joel Howard Taylor. You mentioned George Weah. I think everybody for this moment at 2005, when we finally got a democratically elected president, the country was finally in a place where we're going to start the process of moving the country in the right direction. Right. So everyone was playing their role. Everyone was doing their part. Ellen was here in government. Madam Sirleaf, Madam Joel Howard Taylor was in the Senate. George Weah, whatever George Weah was doing. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. So, but I know we came in as philanthropists to do what we could do, because although the country now was in the right direction, or at least heading in the right direction under the new leadership, there was still so many people who are not being reached by the government or the resources of the government. And so we went in as a charitable solution to, or at least a temporary solution to the people's problem. Like for me, my passion was children, women and children, and the youth. So we started to find young people who cannot afford to go to school. We started to find young people who are on the streets, which I don't think any of our citizens, our children, should be on the street. I think it's deplorable as a nation. If we really care about the future of Liberia, we would never allow one child to be out of a school building. The children should get their 3 meals, their health care, and their education, because that's investment in the future of Liberia. We can't wait until they're of age to vote. Then we provide them with free education, meaning like, oh, y'all got paid tuition today. We made free tuition because they can vote. No, you start when they cannot do nothing. When they're in that early childhood stage, that's when we as a nation must invest in the lives of these little babies and these little kids, so that by the time they grow up to be 18 years old, they can now become, sound-minded citizens that would make sound decisions. So what were these other people doing? There was a government doing their thing. Joel Howard Taylor was in the Senate doing her thing. Now President Weah, who was then football player Weah, was doing his thing. So we were just, trying to find quick solution to move those forward who government were not reaching.
All right. Well, since we've talked about the politicians, it's fair to balance it out with
absolutely
philanthropists and humanitarians.
Right.
Are we Liberians enabling other Liberians to not be self-sufficient when we continuously supply them with these things over and over the years, wherein you had to create some form of accountability or check and balance by just the statement that I read? Are we enabling this? Because this is gone since it's been about 15 years now. Are we enabling this? Should we continue this pattern of sending things to them every day?
No, not at all. Not at all, Stephen. And one of the books, there are 2 books that I live by. I live by my religious book, which is my first Bible, because I'm a Christian. I follow the Christian faith. And anyone who's Muslim will follow the Quran. And the second book I live by is the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, because that's the country of my citizenship, right? So if you read the Constitution, you will understand. I'm going back to your question as to what are we enabling laziness in our society, or enabling bad behavior by giving people free things? No. When you read the Constitution tells you exactly what the government's role to each citizen of the land. Each government has its role to play. When government is not playing its role or falls short to support the Constitution that grants the rights to the citizens of the land, then you have situations in the country where the people cannot fend for themselves or care for themselves or support themselves or provide a life for themselves and their families. Right now, if you read our Constitution and you look at the conditions of Liberia, government is not playing its role. And so the people of Liberia just don't have the resources they need to take care of themselves and their families. And so we, the humanitarians, we, the philanthropists, we come in and step in, because although government is not doing what it should be doing, you cannot sit there as a Christian person or as a Muslim person or as a human being. You cannot sit there and see women and children and young people perishing and our elders perishing, and you sit back and say, oh, because they put in lazy. No, there are times to say when the people are lazy, and when there are times to say this is a humanitarian crisis. And we are currently living in a humanitarian crisis in this country. And so we, the humanitarians, the philanthropists, we must take the money that we're supposed to be taking care of ourselves with to give back, although we clearly understand it is not a private citizen role to take care of the needs of the people of the nation. It is government's responsibility. And I do think that there are a lot of people in government who have never read our national constitution. So they do not understand their role as a public servant in the positions they're in. And so the people are not lazy in this case. If the government had done its job, the people of the Republic of Liberia will have everything, every tool they need to live the way they're supposed to live, take care of their families' needs, educate their children. But government has not played its role to the people. And so the people are now living on charity.
The people are not living on charity. Those are the words of Madam MacDella Cooper. I'm not sure if Melbourne has any question for you just before we pivot into the politics here, because we're laying the basis to get into the politics and the nitty-gritty of what's going on in our country today. Go ahead, please.
To do a follow-up question to what you just asked. Anyway, I want to say, Injo, what's up, and thank you so much for that. But the follow-up question to Steve, because our people, they're 15 years, almost 18 years now, the same thing over and over. So I just want to know as to when will this one thing come to an end? Well, every now and then we'll continue to feed our people. People come in the name of giving aid, come in the name of, philanthropists and so on. When will this one thing come to an end?
It will come to an end when people in government or the administration of government do their part, play their role to the citizens of the land or to the nation at large. I'm going to read you something out of the Constitution really quickly, just really quick, if you permit me.
Please.
Your question, Avon. It says the Republic shall, and this is in chapter 1, structure of the state of the Republic of Liberia. I'm going to go down to chapter 2, article number 6. It has a lot to do with education, which is my area. I love education, because without education, we'll never move our nation forward. The Republic shall, because of the vital role assigned to the individual citizen under this Constitution for the social, economic, and political well-being of Liberia. I'm going to go back. For the Republic shall, because of the vital role assigned to the individual citizen under the Constitution for the social, the economic, and the political well-being of what? The Republic of Liberia. Provide equal access to educational opportunities, facilities for all citizens to extent of available resources. Use the government money to educate the people. Use the government money to educate the what? Every citizen of the land. Now, emphasis shall be placed on the mass education of the Liberian people and the elimination of illiteracy. Liberia today has a 70% illiteracy. That means government has not used the resources assigned to educate the people. So we have a 70% illiteracy in our country. Only less than 30% of our citizens can read and write their name. We're talking about master degree. We're talking about doctor degree. We're talking about just to read and write your own name. Only about 27% of Liberians can read and write their name. So is that the Constitution? Have we executed the rights of the people as constitutional? No, we have failed. That's just education. I can take you through the Constitution and read to you all of the economy. I can read to you the Constitution and how our government is constantly failing our people. You're supposed to use the national resources to educate your people, every citizen, not one, not Congo Manchero, not Native Manchero. They say every citizen of the Republic of Liberia. Here we are today. The people can't even read and write. Adult who can knock it. Your old age coming now. What you do? You coming born now. You coming now. You get job. The people are not ready to work. You understand? So government is constantly filling our people. And who says so? The Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. Not MacDella Cooper.
Okay, wonderful. Melba, unless you have another question, then we can transition into the real politics here, because we're just laying the basis here for some discussions.
Yeah, so she from the female background, and I know she. I once upon a time I saw something coming from her talking about the 3 hour, but I think that would be done in the politics side. Yeah, so
Right.
yeah, the 3 hour. So
Right.
No, but go ahead and kickstart off. Let's jump
I can tell you.
us into the politics. No, don't start the politics. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So Madam MacDella Cooper, you were talking about the 3 hour. The respect and for the rule of law, and especially for the females. So I don't know, because I followed that and I really get key interest into that, because if you see the females from 1847 up to now, let me say this for free, that they are not really been looking after, and in fact, especially when it comes to governance, and so on. And you are one of the ringleader, fighting hard to bring the females to prominent. So talking about the 3 hour, I don't know, how prepared are you to achieve that?
Well, look, for me, once you look at how much policy, how many red flags our government currently have in terms of executing the constitutional mandate for the nation, they're not only cheating the women at this point, they're cheating our young children, they're cheating our young men, they're cheating our elders. So if you look at every citizen of this country now, they're just not, their constitutional rights are not being respected. And then you got a women who, when you give woman $1, she will make sure she take that $1, and at least the women now, I say girls, I say women, that are two different scenarios. But when you got down there, show you how to define it, because women are people who don't think about themselves. They think about others. They think about rebirthing children. So we have to think about those children. We have parents. We have to think about our parents. We have husbands, we have to think about our husbands, our partners. We have to think about our sister and brother children. You get them on $1, everybody on our list will eat if they're in the household. And if that little small thing are coming for school fee, the children will go to school. Their rent will be paid. So how many men now that would think, our parents, our wife, our children, the school fee. So I'm no discrimination against our brothers, because we need our brothers and our fathers. They're our partners. But at least you say we put $1 in a man's hand, he will stop at the entertainment shop. The plastic bag will leave behind before he reaches the house. That black plastic bag ain't reaching him soon. The women will carry that plastic bag. Maybe what you laughing for now? For me, I talk my serious to you laughing. So we're talking about, on a serious note, we're talking about the 3 hours. The 3 hours.
Yeah. Yes.
That 3 hours talk about respect.
Yes.
In order for Liberia got 30 senators in the upper house of Senate, 2 senators from each county, 2 per county. You got 30 senators that were elected upstairs there in the House of Elders. You got only 2 women. 2 women, that thing are correcting there? No. You got, out of the 103 electoral districts, you got only 8 women there out of 103. So now, when you look at the demographic of women and men and the tendencies and just the way they view and the policies of interest, you look at men say, yeah, my man, the administration will come in big rule. Yeah, you don't put the money down for rule. They roll, yeah, we'll put our fast car down on the road, yeah. But who's in the woman car? The woman car, that van. She get her man, she get your man, your party, husband, man, party in the car. She got one of my party if they stay alive. She got the children. She got everybody else children that she helping. So the one say, y'all better fast road, we'll put a car on it, but then what the road safety now? What kind of road safety we get? So you see the way women and men think about the holistic view of the family is different. So we do need women at the decision-making table. This is not just about the men and they're strong, the men and get a muscle, the men and they got a brain power, they will make a decision. As you making a decision based on your brain power and your muscle, we're thinking about the holistic view of the family structure, the community, the hospitals, the schoolhouse, the hospital need both for the children because we spend more time with the children. We know what the children need more than you who in the place there running around just distributing your plastic bag, the content of your plastic bag. Or you go to the entertainment channel and figure out how to spend that $1. That $1 going home on the woman. So if the women don't have the representation, have a seat at the decision-making tables, who will talk for the women, the children, the young people, which are y'all now? Y'all still our youth there. We're talking for y'all. We're talking for the old people. We're talking for the children. We're talking for the community. We're talking for the hospital. We know who's going to use the hospital, but we're still talking for the schoolhouse. Not only our children going there, but we're still talking about all the other things that agriculture, how the people be fed in the country. Those are things that we bring to the table, and those are the things that makes the nation stronger. If you illuminate all of the women from the decision, the men are making decision, that it depends on the men now. There's some really incredible men, but when I'm talking about playboy party man, that party business is discussed on that table there. You understand? So women must be represented to discuss issues pertaining to
Let
me let really quickly on Mabel. So that's the representation. Women at the table. Then two, when women at the table, that means they're being represented. When they're on the table, then the resources now, they will say, oh yeah, that's true. What the women are saying, let's get some money to the women. Then that's access to the resources. So that's the 3R: the representation, the resources, and the respect.
So then back to you. When you come, in fact, when you talk about representation, I don't know how you want it to be like. If I may ask you, you want, because we have 15 counties and 2 senators. So do you want it to be like equal balance, or how you want it to be like?
Well, look, it's not just MacDella Cooper's view. It is a right of the citizen of the land. It is an inherent right that was granted by the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia. As a public servant, I can never separate myself from the rights and from the understanding, the full understanding of the Constitution. In Article number 3, the same article, the same chapter I read to you from, they talk about the fundamental rights of each citizen. They didn't say men get more rights than women in the Constitution. It was never said. I can read you here in article number 11, where they talk about inherent rights. So they never said, man, oh man, the Constitution for y'all. Women, oh women, y'all listen to the man. Say, what part of the Constitution they want to share with y'all, they will share with y'all. No. Each citizen, all persons born equally free and independent and have certain natural, inherent, and inalienable rights. Each person born. They didn't say man or woman. So when we exclude women from being put on the list of candidates, right? When we don't follow the election laws, they say each political party. This is where decisions start from now. Stephen, you follow me? The decision comes from the starting point of political party before it enters government. When political party
30%.
30%.
Right? Yeah.
That was what the election law says. Each political party must see to it that they have 30% of either gender. MacDella Cooper today got party for women and young people and disabled people. If we get a lot of men leadership, we'll put 30% men. When you have these other political parties that were started by men, they will make sure they got 30% women. The political party said, well, we couldn't find women. So that's why we couldn't put women on the ballot paper or on the list of candidates that was submitted to NEC. It's wrong.
So thank you so much, Milborn, for bringing us into the politics. You are just joining us. I want to say welcome to SKTV. We are in a conversation/interview with Madam MacDella Cooper, former presidential candidate, 2017 election. We will be clearing the air on some things, but I want to push back on the women issue that you alluded to here. I reached out to you. One of the first time we ever made contact was via LinkedIn. I reached out to you because I had a concern about a female, knowing that I followed you. I follow your advocacy for women in politics. But Madam Jemima Wolo-Kwali,
right,
the senatorial election, the senatorial by-election 2020, decided as the lone female from CDC, even though she was not endorsed by the party, who was running as a lone female, decided to jump off the race to support Toma Fala. Isn't that undermining women's agenda?
Well, look, if we had a high percentage of women in the Republic of Liberia who had their own resources and could make individual decision, not just based on who was granting them resources, it will be a different story. And I think we mentioned this the last time, but a lot of women don't have access to their own resources. And you say, well, but Jemima Wolekoli did have access to resources.
Right.
Jemima Wolekoli had invested heavily in CDC. She had invested heavily in the creation of CDC. And so she was committed to the cause of CDC. And not because the leadership of CDC did not support her, she went independent to do her own thing to show to them that, look, I help you build and I can sustain myself. She went out to go, she looked for a different party. She came to the Women's Party at MacDella Cooper and the Movement for One Liberia. We carried Jemima Wolekoli. And, the election campaign is very expensive. To go through any election is very expensive. And I just, to give her the benefit of the doubt, I would like to say that maybe the campaign became too costly for Jemima Wolekoli. And so when she went back to the CDC, they said, look, we might get, we see our flyers anywhere, we can help you. And she had to cave in. She had to cave in. And so she made a decision based on her need for resources. I think if Jemima Wolekoli had access or ample resources, she wouldn't have gone back, but she did because she knows she couldn't go through the election. And I don't want to speak for her. Jemima Wolekoli she's a person, she's a woman. I support all women across Liberia, irrespective of where they come from, what the background is. We're not looking at backgrounds, we're looking at the future. And so she came and went back to Thomas Fala but I think that decision was made based on the fact that she didn't have access to resources to finish her campaign.
Well, I want to move a little further here because we have been following you as well, and your advocacy for women and children seem to your credit, be a genuine advocacy, whether we like it or not, whether we infuse politics into it or not. We still got to give credit where it's due. May 6th of 2022, credit to Front Page Africa. They released an article, and here is the title of this article: Liberia's MacDella Cooper wants more women in decision-making panel. Right. Something caught my attention in this article, and I thought to read it to you to get your perspective on it. And this is what it states, quote, the fight to put women and youth, and just for the record, this was in Kampala, Uganda, when you made this statement, the fight to put women and youth in the right position of leadership starts with a leader who appreciates the potential of women. I commend Uganda's president for that. We still need to surpass the current 30% women representation. That's what you said, but you move further to add this on. Wake up. We have to develop the continent. Out of 1.3 billion Africans, 51% are females.
Right.
So does it amount to women abuse in Liberia? Let's and let me add on to that question.
Right.
The current president has been named feminist in chief. Does this amount to women abuse? Keep that in context. What do you say?
Look, if I were to call someone a feminist in chief, I'll call Paul Kagame of Rwanda a feminist in chief. Because when Paul Kagame came into power, he gave political parties a certain period of time and said, look, you're going to clean house and include some women. And that's how women got on the ballots to go to the polls, and women were elected in the parliament of Rwanda. Today, Rwanda has 63% female representation in their parliament.
Yes.
63% compared to Liberia, where it's only 9%. And those numbers are decreasing by the years. And so for somebody to self-label or self-title themselves feminist in chief, or whoever was the one granting that title, I don't think that person understood what exactly they were trying to translate to the general public. To call yourself a feminist in chief, that means you must have women in certain position of authority, decision making, and women must have access to the three. We talk about the 3R: access to the resources that women need to further women's agenda. You cannot just self-entitle or self-label give yourself some sort of label and say you're a feminist in chief when women in your country are still suffering and still dying of childbirth and common illnesses that women can, women overcome in other parts of the world. Women still don't have access to resources or loans and what have you. And you say you feminist in chief. That, look, people joke around. Paul Kagame, yes, feminist in chief. Liberia, no. George Manaweya, no. Not feminist in chief. According to the current status of women in Liberia, right? That's how we measure these things, not just by people who are sycophants. Oh yeah, feminist in chief. No, look at the real status of women in the country. That's how you label yourself feminist in chief or not. It's not MacDella Cooper. It's every woman in the Republic of Liberia, and every father and every son who got a sister would say, "Is my mother or my sister living the life that's supposed to live in this country?" When girls are being raped, and we don't have a judiciary system that's charging people rightfully. We're supposed to have a DNA machine. Those DNA machine was never put to work. How many conviction do we have? And how many people have actually gone to jail for raping our women, our girls? Is this what's up? I saw some minister of sports or somewhere deputy minister of sports said we should legalize prostitution because that's the only thing the girls can do. That's not a country where a leader should call themselves a feminist in chief. I'm sorry to say. If anyone's offended, let them be offended. I don't care. But you can't joke around in a situation where our country is in it's just such a horrible situation and people are self-titling themselves.
Okay, the country is in such a horrible situation and people are self-titling themselves. Well, we'll pivot a little bit here from your quest, because that's part of your agenda as a presidential candidate. But I wanted to ask you this quick yes or no question, and you can choose to expand on that. Do you still intend to run for the presidency?
I do intend to run for the presidency come 2023. Yes.
You do intend to run for the presidency come 2023. Now that we have that fact established, and this is part of your policy, we'll get to the monetary issue. We'll get to the money part because we'll talk about the debts and we'll talk about what your plans are in order to get us out of debt and what's going on. But I wanted to push on something here that, speaking of President George Weah, last time you were on the show, unfortunately, I couldn't continue. I had left the show, but I listened in. And you did voluntarily let the public know that you know George Weah and you have a child with George Weah. Is that right?
Well, it's a bit of a redundant conversation because I think we've done a great job establishing the facts around that particular question. So it's a bit redundancy. And I think our listeners and everybody else already know this fact. But that doesn't mean I'm owned by George Weah. We had a previous relationship, and that relationship was done into 2015. And we went our separate ways. We live our separate lives, right? He's his own man. I'm my own man. I take care of my child. He takes care of whatever he takes care of.
Wonderful. So I want to, based on the fact that you've asserted that, I wanted to ask you a question before I get into your pushbacks you've had on the CDC in public, President George Weah as well, based on his leadership. I wanted to ask you this question: who is George Weah?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm not his public speaker or his biographer.
Well, we thought you could have helped us understand to some extent who he is, but let's move forward. Let's move to some of the.
If you ask him from the perspective of a public figure and a citizen of the Republic of Liberia, having someone who is George Manaweya in the seat of the presidency, if you ask him my opinion about him, I'm happy to give my opinion.
And that's why I'm asking.
Right. No. If that's the case, I'm happy to give my opinion on what I see from the outside, because like every other citizen, I don't talk to President Weah on a private basis. I don't. I have in a very long time. And I have no connection with this administration, with the Weah's administration. I have zero connection. I have zero benefit from this administration, even though there was a child created in the past. But even my son does not inherit a dollar from this president or his administration. So I want to set those boundaries very clear. And I know there's a tendency when a woman dates a man in the past or have had any relationship with a man, she's always tied to him. But I think for most women who are listening to this show and beyond, I think most women have had relationships just as men have had relationships when they decide to go their separate ways because of indifference in policies or lifestyle or whatever. You know, there's no attachment, and we don't have any attachment to each other in the sense that I'm supporting Weah, I'm doing this for Weah because I'm doing all of this because I want to get votes for Weah. Absolutely not. You don't risk your life. You don't put yourself in the public eye for somebody else's benefit that you're not benefiting from. I would never inflict abuse on myself. As a matter of fact, I empower women to step away from this level of abuse. So I would never do this level of work, put my life and my family life at risk for somebody else's benefit. I'm a happily married woman. I'm married to a wonderful gentleman, Aliyu Badra Kibe. We've known each other for years. We're together. We build our lives together. We have our family. And so I'm absolutely independent of any relationship to where. I want the public to know that fair and square. My dog boy in here to do all the way for Joya. No.
Thank you for providing that clarity and that context.
I
And,
just want to know what Mabel in the back there laughing for.
and I think this is good because this is good to establish and clarify these things because people, especially in our politics, tend to run with falsehoods and so forth. So we thought to provide an opportunity so we can get clarity and context. But I want to also bring you back to the fact that you've openly pushed back on this government.
Right.
You're on record. But before we go to the pushing back on this government, did you in the second round support the CDC?
Well, I always said it openly. I reluctantly supported, after the second round, Honorable Joseph Bokai Nimabaka called me and said, MacDella, we need your support. You did very well in the election. Will you come and work with us? And I said, absolutely, absolutely. Like, whatever I can do to be of help, please, let me know. I was in the opposition and I was in the opposition bloc and he was part of the opposition. And of course, the incumbent wasn't running for re-election. But anywho, long story short, my team came up to me and said, look, Madam Cooper, it will make sense to go and support the CDC because the CDC is going to win. From all we see, all road looks like CDC is going to win this election. It would make sense. And even my chief of staff, Mr. Frank William, wonderful, absolutely wonderful and brilliant man, who was my chief of staff, said to me, look, Madam Cooper, you know me, I'm here to advise you on where we should go. It makes sense that we go and support CDC because it looks like the writing is on the wall. That was his exact words. The writing is on the wall. CDC is going to win. And you don't want to be, opposition to them because, they can make things complicated for all of us. And so between my chief of staff, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, and my youth chair and the youth that was in my group, they all said, look, Madam Cooper, we should go over and support. I said, look, you guys can go ahead and support. You guys go ahead and support CDC. I really didn't have any faith that CDC government was going to, move this country in any direction. I honestly didn't think they could. And so my staff and my team says, Madam Cooper, we should go there. But we are not going to go without you. And so we just want you to just walk with us and just lead us there. It shows leadership. You are our leader. We can't go anywhere without you. So I said, look, if that's the case, I will do it. We went over, brought my team, they pledged their support. And we didn't only come with a moral support, we came with financial support as well for the CDC. And so we did our part. I walked away. Maybe there was a false impression that I wanted something. And I got a call to the executive mansion that they wouldn't allow me in the government. And I said, look, I'm not looking for a job. I've been in Liberia since 2005. Madam Sirleaf was here. I supported in any way I could support.
I had to interrupt, Madam Cooper. Can you state what you just said? You got a call from the executive mansion stating that they wouldn't give you a job.
Right.
Isn't that discriminatory?
Well, they were the ones elected to power. It wasn't me. They were the one in charge. It wasn't me. They clearly said, thank you for your contribution towards our second round, but we're not going to give you any position in our government. And I said, but that was unnecessary. If you call me to the executive mansion, you could have just told me, and that was fine. I was not looking for a job. I had lived in Liberia for the 12 years Madam Sirleaf was there. I didn't have a government job. I survived in Liberia. I served my country. I did everything I could. So I know this government is going to come for 6 years, maybe 6 years. And, they're at 5 years now. They will be here for 6 years. When you guys are finished, I will still be in Liberia and still survive in Liberia. So that's how I saw it. So the whole conversation about we're not going to let you in our government, it was like, did I give you the impression I was looking for a job in your government?
Would you have taken a job if offered?
No, if it was something within the investment community, I probably would have. I would have, because I really wanted to bring all of these investors we're directing to other countries in the region. I wanted to make Liberia first. Liberia is always first to me. Liberia must always be first to me. But when you come to an administration that the people give the mantle of authority to, that is leading the administration, the affairs of the nation, when you come to them and say, look, we have some investors we want to bring to you, and they give you the run around, you take the investors elsewhere because people have money they want to spend. And so we're not going to beg people. So we brought in some private sector investments instead of having any public investment opportunity or being able to sort of bid for any projects.
Given what you know now, headed for the 2023 election, should you not make it to the second round,
Right.
hypothetically, would you support the CDC?
Maybe I didn't understand your English very well. I will what?
Given what you know now,
Right.
should you not make it to the second round, hypothetically,
Well,
would you
look,
support the CDC? Would you support the CDC if CDC
look,
makes it to the second round? That is the focal
first
point.
of all, CDC is not going to make it to the second round. So that question is pretty much.
Can you repeat what you said, please?
No, CDC is not going to make it to the second round. The opposition is going to come on strong. The opposition is going to take over Liberia the next election.
But why would you say that though?
Look, read this book. Read this book called The Liberian Constitution and tell me if these guys have actually upheld this constitutional mandate. They have not. And you think Liberian people are not aware that this government doesn't have the ability to run the affairs of our nation? I think it's no secret. Maybe people might be afraid to say it. But this current administration have not held or have not executed the constitutional mandate they have upon themselves or their hands. They have failed our country massively. Look at the conditions of our country. People are crying, say, oh, that Omar Ellen yeah, one enjoying small, the other thing easy. The corruption. Now you have the right hand of the head of state being sanctioned. When a fish is ratting, it starts on a hay. Liberian people are very well aware when a fish is ratting, it starts on a hay. He don't just come from the tail and say, oh, the fish ratting from the tail. No, it's the head that's ratting first. And I will stop there. But come 2023, there will be no way MacDella Cooper will ever support this administration for a second term. Not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. And even sedition, let me say this, because this conversation is not about CDC government.
Right.
Seditionists who are very unhappy with what and how they have went to the polls and voted for George Weah, and President George Weah now took the country and gave it to somebody else to run. And so seditionists who work hard in the sun, in the rain, in the fire, in every hole in the country, running around, lifting up every little rock to get vote for George Weah. Their lives are even worse than what it was when they were in the rain, sun, and shine. There are a lot of seditionists who I talk to on a constant basis. They are tired with this. It's almost like they're begging for favors after they've worked so hard. You think those same people are going to abuse themselves and put themselves back in the predicament to get somebody else so Joe can get a government to somebody else again? It's not going to happen. These are people. They have to respect these people as well.
Just before I go to Melbourne for one or two questions on this session, and then we'll transition, because we'll talk about the session as well. We'll talk about your perspective on it. But let me ask this question, because Front-Page Africa published about a year ago.
Right.
I'm not sure if you made a prediction or what did you say, but we kept track of it and we kept the record on file as well based on what you said. This is what you said. There's an article that came up. Looming threat. This article was published May the 13th, 2021. You said looming threat. But let me read something really quick from there. Then I will get to exactly what I want to get to here. MacDella Cooper calls for inclusive government. Says Liberia's space and security remain threatened. Right. If appointments are continuously done on partisanship, friendship, and connections to the higher ups. But here is something I wanted to read. One of your criticisms. So far, quote, so far, as a country, we are going in a wrong direction.
Right.
And if we do not broaden the spectrum of trying to identify those who can bring something to the table and just doing things based on friendship, we are hurting this country and the government is hurting itself. Let me give you the opportunity, because someone might interpret it as you were looking for a job. You are trying to get your way through. What do you mean? Can you put this in context for us, please?
It says it so clearly, Stephen. It's. I saw what was being done, and like you said, it was a prediction, because you see that's what investment is all about. You predict where the market is going. You predict what things are going to happen, and you want to make sure you're in that space. Right. Sorry, I can't see you very well, so I have to put my glasses back on. When I saw the direction this government was taking, this administration, because it's our government, different administrations runs it, but where this administration was taking this thing, After the election, you had sedition, begging, paying, doing all kinds of things to get a job. The simple who went to the polls to vote. Then they start putting friendship in position of in the different agencies of government. And so these people are now looking to see who were the ones that they will give opportunity to, which Liberian citizen. And when you read clearly in our constitution, the government is there for the people. The government is there for the people. And so now you have an administration who coming in with a different mandate to give people who they like and not considering all citizens of the land. So it wasn't MacDella Cooper looking for a job. I was busy building institutions, whether it's academic institution or political institution, or I was busy, with my investment work across the region. And so I wasn't looking for a job, but the people who are qualified to run the affairs of our nation were being sidelined intentionally because they were not sycophants. They were not the ones that were in the right social clubs at the time, and so they were not getting a job, and they were looking at them as threat. And so they gave the job to those friends and people who could say yes, man, yes, sir. And although those people didn't have the experiences that was needed to run the affairs of those agencies, but because I like you, I can control you, so I'll put you in those positions of authority. That's not what we're looking for as a nation. We want qualified individuals to who understands, the agencies and the mandate of the agency and what is needed to make that agency work and function. Those are the individuals that should be hired for the position. But you saw friends and friends and friends, and sometimes even partisans were being overlooked. Partisans were begging for a job, and someone who are just friends because there was some sort of connection, social connection. They gave the person a job and overlook those real strong citizens who are working hard.
Right.
Right. So it's that's why I made that sort of I made that interview in Front Page Africa, because that's what we saw, and we were just warning them to say, look, you guys are going down the wrong direction. You're going down the wrong direction. You must not run this administration on the basis of feelings or friendship or nepotism. And our constitution speaks against those things, especially nepotism. Our constitution speaks against it, right? It creates it's an unlawful act. And so, but here's the result. Today, there's a sanction. There's a sanction on 3 key members who are friends and were hired to run certain agencies. They were hired, given a job, and not knowing what the constitutional or the mandate for those positions. They were doing their own thing and not following the instructions of what the job requires. And so, if you don't follow the law, you're gonna break the law, and you may not know when to stop.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's turn to Melbourne. Melbourne, do you have any question or any concern?
Yes, and I want to say thanks to our guest on today. Actually, she really, yeah, pushing out. But I have 2 questions. And the first question have to do with women support. Women are always in majority when it comes to election, especially on if I'm voting, right? Well, sometimes when you find out, you see that women always choosing the male over the female. Now, one question I really want you to answer: why is always happening? That one, and 2, how are you talking about political party or in fact opposition political party? So I want to know as to is there any plan coming from your angle? Or maybe you planning of joining any of the collaboration political parties around here? 2 questions I want you to answer for me.
Sure. And let me start with the first one, Mayborn. It's the women. You see, when the state of our economy puts the resources in the hands of the men. Women are not just running to vote for men or support men because women just don't like themselves or like other women. But when things are hard, who holding the money in their hand? Tell me what woman in government right now holding the money up and say we're going to that woman for support, right? It's the men who hold the money, and so the women there are so accustomed to going to those men for the little thing they need. And so when time comes, now our women, they're honest people, they're faithful people, they're committed people, even sometimes to their own detriment, but they're committed. When they say thank you, God bless you, thank you for this small thing, they're just happy that they have something small to take care of their children, to feed their children. They're not gonna be the two-faced individual and say, oh, the person helped me, so I won't turn my face against them. So that's how you see a lot of the women going to vote for men. But if women in our country have access to resources, and not just a handful of women, we need more women to have access to resources so that women can make independent decisions around themselves. How many children they're going to born, and what kind of business they're going to do, where they're going to live, all these things. Women don't have a lot of women in our country don't have the power to make those decisions right now on their own. So women are really, look, if Liberia won't be serious, they must just respect the law and put some women into the position of authority. You will see how the country will move in the right direction. And plus, when a woman go outside to go to foreign countries to go beg, she not coming back with empty hand. When she go there to go beg, she not coming back with empty hand. She coming out with something at least to do something, whether it's healthcare, whether it's this, whether it's that. She will come out with something. So I'm not saying men are going to go beg, but sometimes our men they got to take small pride inside and too now. When a man say, "Oh, it doesn't look like," they will stop there. No, women will say, "No, I know you said no, but let me hear from you again." They'll push that agenda. So to your question as to why women will support men over other women is because of the current situation of our country. Number two, you talk about the collaboration political parties. I look at two things. One, it's almost like we got it's like we got two parties right now. You got an incumbent, and you got the incumbent, which is the ruling establishment now. Then you got the opposition bloc. For me, I'm all about the opposition right now. Yes, I have ambition to run for office, but we, the folks in the opposition, we gotta work together to make sure 2023 is a reality. One person can't do the thing alone. And so the idea here now is to work together. If we're serious, we're gonna work together, put all our egos aside, because now all of us can do it one seat, and we'll work together to see how we can win 2023 election. And that's our mandate. That's it. It's not about an individual anymore. It's about the Republic of Liberia to make sure our people have the constitutional right, and the constitutional right is being exercised on a daily basis. They have access to the basic national resources that is rightfully theirs. It's not just for the people who this administration like or who are friends to this administration will enjoy Liberia. Liberia is for every citizen that was born and that carried the citizenship of this nation. We are not going to allow any government in this day and age to decide we like you, so you'll be a citizen that will respect your constitutional right. We don't like you because you're from that era, We'll not respect your constitutional right. We're not going to accept that. We will not.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Milburn. Let me follow up on Milburn's question before we get into the sanction and so forth on this whole CPP and other political parties and arrangements in the opposition. Based on what I just heard you say, would you consider a VP spot?
Well, as I've always said, it's when you trying to see, this is one of the things when the feminists of Liberia, we got some strong feminists in the country. These women don't play. They understand women's rights, and they understand how society have trained our people to ask certain questions that is so sexist that you may not even know it's a sexist question, but you're just asking your question based on what you know. And so to this particular question, it's not because I'm a woman, I'm going to settle for VP, because that's what the people know, and that's what the people are accustomed to. And again, number one, Liberia, America, our parent country, has a VP, woman VP. So MacDella Makie automatically just step down to take VP position. It is not an individual decision to make. We're going to bring all the tools to the table. And there are a couple of things we look at when it comes to elections, or they look at the different candidates. Who is electable? Who has resources to bring to the table? That's how we decide who goes one, who goes two. It's not, I can't come with all the resources and electability, and because somebody else got a bigger ego, they go on top of the ticket. We're not here to serve an ego. We're here to serve the public. So really, when it comes to making a decision about who goes number two on the ticket or who goes number one, it's all about that. You put all of the numbers on the table, and that's how we determine the head or the tail of the ticket. But at this moment, we're open to we're open to the mandate of the opposition winning 2023.
Okay. I like the political side of you answering that question, but let me move further. It's reported, even though I haven't watched it,
right?
It's reported to me that this was one of your assertions the last time you appeared on Spoon Talk, that you wouldn't recommend VP Boakai running for the presidency. Someone would say that you've already chosen a side, or why would you say that? This is right.
Well, look, and I think I always said there are people who look at the truth and people who like to play around with the truth, and they take a much longer road to yield to the result versus if they were just going straight in for the truth and take a shorter journey to their destination. My destination point here is, look, we need a fighter to fight this administration and win 2023. If you got someone, our daddy, our papi, our big brother, our everything, Honorable Joseph Himabaka, this man has served 40 years in our government. He got a wealth of experience, yes. He got knowledge, yes. But when you look at our daddy now, our daddy needs some time to rest. You can be forcing a man to go say he come and go stand on stage to do 3-4 hours debate, presidential debate. You know how many hours we stay on that debate stage last time? You want to take the paper instead of our paper going to rest and granting and giving us wisdom in the background, making phone calls on our behalf. You won't get the paper on the road to go on the back country road there. You don't let the paper on the paper to die. People who behind the man, they're pushing agenda for themselves, not for the man. They know the paper need time to rest. The paper got wisdom. If they want the paper to do something good for our country, he can stay behind some of us. We need a new generation of young people with clean hands to run this country, especially coming out of this administration with the corruption and being sanctioned. We need a new generation. Why would we keep forcing our daddy to go run on the road, 15 counties to go visit people? So all the people will just go to election, he will go jump here, or when the quota road can stop, like people will stop. Then he see the people, the people want someone who can come to them and say, listen to them. Here's my problem. These are the problems we're facing in the area here. You can face the problem for us. When you will get a paper to wake up from his sleep to go to that place, then let's stop talking. They cannot talk. Look, I love Joseph Boakai. He's my daddy. He's my big brother. He's my uncle. He's our papa with wisdom. But you can't enforce the papa to go say you can't be run campaign 2023. And besides, we would demand that George Manuel Weah, the president of the Republic of Liberia, get on a debate stage to talk to the Liberian people what he has accomplished and what he's going to accomplish in 2023 when he want to run for president again. Not like before when he never did any debate and people when elected him. We need every presidential candidate go on a stage to debate the issues affecting the lives of the people and how they plan to solve those problems. You can't force our daddy to do that more. You can't do it. Our daddy need resting time. But we do need him.
Yeah, Steve. Steve, you are muted. I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry about that. We'll be going to launch it very soon to have our people, call in from Liberia and the diaspora to interact with you, to ask you questions. But just before we go to line, let me throw in two questions here. The first question I wanted to ask is more so about the sanction.
Right.
The 3 officials that were sanctioned by the U.S. government. I wanted to put in perspective here. Sure. Current Minister of State, current suspended, sanctioned Minister of State, Serena Sifos, the Attorney General, or however you want to term it, the SG,
right,
the Solicitor General, of the country,
right,
and Bill Tardy, the Port Management Director of our country.
Right.
So, you understanding international relations and connections and so forth, is this targeted towards President George Weah? Because we call this in America close to whom? What do you say? I'm not going to be around the bush.
Right. That's exactly what we should be doing and not beating around the bush. Look, I think the sanction was very, 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 they were very, what is the word I'm looking for? They were very generous. They were extremely generous. They could have had more, but I hope that they're appreciative of how things were handled. Right. And so, but I'm happy for this sanction because the warning signs have been there from the day of the acquisition of this government, the day of the establishment of this new administration. People have been warning this administration that the direction you guys are going to, it's not the right direction. It's not the right way to run the affairs of this nation. And no one listened. But the Americans, of course, thanks to the American government that has their own interests at heart, because they're not here to do charity. The U.S. government coming to your country to seek after the United States interest.
Right.
And they also were looking at the interests of Liberians, because Liberians, we're, like I said, we're wonderful people, but sometimes I think we're just so soft-hearted, and we're such a good people. We will take long time for our patient to run out. And so I'm happy that the U.S. places this sanction on these individuals, because they could have done more. They could have done more. And I hope these individuals, instead of asking questions and investigations, they should understand that now they're not allowed to do business. They're not allowed to do any banking transactions, not in their name. Maybe they might have an alias name or pseudonym or proxy, but they're not going to be able to do business and banking and use credit cards in their own name anymore. And anybody else who's found doing business with them, they're going to be in the same problems. They're going to face the same problems. So look, to your question about the sanction, I think the sanction was great. When you put your hands in the cookie jar, you can't stop. The people keep telling you the thing you are doing ain't good. You continue to do yourself with opposition, so that why you can't talk.
And I don't know what I can do for a question to that same thing with Steve. So I want to know as to, Steve, you
yes,
are.
Do a follow-up question before I ask my last question, please.
All right. Yeah. So, Madam Cooper, the suspended minister, they requested for an investigation to go on. So I don't know.
So who's being investigated? I saw that about the investigation. Who's being investigated? The Americans or the government?
And that's a $1 million question now that we need to ask you, because I think you've been following that also. So
right.
if he requesting for investigation, what would be your own recommendation if you're to recommend?
Well, it sounds to me the request for an investigation is one out of two things, and I don't want to be premature to talk too much about it because it's again, I'm not in this administration, so I don't know what's happening behind closed doors. But from my prediction is that the Minister of State is saying, look, I was working here and now being accused of something, and I think the truth needs to come out. I think the request for an investigation is to say I'm not the only person that's going to have my name, taken through the gutters. The truth is eventually going to come out if an investigation to say that I wasn't alone in doing this. And so I think it's just a cry for help. I think it's the Minister of State cry for help and say, look, Mr. President, I was here. I now being sanctioned. So can y'all say something too? I think, well, because who are they going to investigate? The Americans? They cannot investigate the Americans. If we investigate the Americans on what? The Americans have all of their documents lined up. All their ducks are lined up. The Americans are one of our development partners. They give resources like the EU, like the UK, and the Netherlands and Norway. All these are our development partners, Swedes. They all give their resources, and resources disappear without the projects being executed. So who are being asked to investigate? Maybe I think it's just right in the mansion that the investigation needs to take place. Who are they going to investigate?
Right in the mansion.
And also another thing that it needs to understand, the travel ban. And I said it last year and I repeat here, the sanction is a bitch. You don't want to get caught in it.
Wow. Well, a sanction, I wouldn't use the word used. Let's get to my last question on, and this will pivot. We'll go away from the sanction. We might come back to it, but I want to talk about it. I want to talk about the money aspect, because you've talked about money here. How when women don't have money, sometimes it has the ability to impact their decisions, especially in a presidential race or election, and so forth. So I want to talk about money as of today, and we stand to be corrected here on SKTV. As of today, as of January of this year, our debt, our external debt, is 1.3 billion. Our domestic debt, as of July the 2nd, is 708 million United States dollars. All of the money we call it like US money, not Liberian money. That will be clear to our people so they can get it.
And that's always in the negative.
So as a nation, we're in big trouble in terms of money. Should you win the election, this is what you would incur, whether you like it or not.
Absolutely.
So then the question to you is, what are your plans to tackle these debts? How can we get rid of these debts? What can we do as a nation?
Well, Steve, don't forget, it was just in the early 2000 when Madame Sirleaf was elected. She went around the world. We had a $4.6 billion debt. That same 1.3 you referred to, which fluctuates. Sometimes people say it's 1.8, 1.5. Now you're saying 1.3. We had a $4.6 billion debt. And what did she do? She put a committee together to go around the world to ask, right, to have that debt pardoned. And I met a gentleman who was a very famous individual in the world that said to me and showed me some information where they went around the world to get that debt pardoned so we can start anew. So the $4.6 billion debt, a vast majority of it was pardoned by the countries to whom it was owed. We come back within a matter of 4 or 5 years, we got $1.6 billion added to that same debt now, right? So who's borrowing this money? And that's why you see IMF came in with their with their structure to put a hold on borrowing over a certain amount. And so look, the goal here, when you inherit any administration from another government or from another administration, you have some problems to resolve. You have to come in with your new policies, your new plan, your plan on the economy, your plan on education. And that is why we move one administration and vote another one in with a better plan. And one of the things I've been waiting to hear for 5 years now, just about 5 years of this administration, was their economic plan or even their recovery plan. To me, they kept blaming the previous administration, but never really had their own plans in place. Plans on education, plan on healthcare, plan on economy, plan on agriculture. There was no plan. It's just an attack on the previous administration. Don't attack the previous administration. You see, my criticism stops the day I get into power. The day we go for inauguration, the criticism stops there. Now it's time to find solutions. How do you find money? When you are focused on running for office, we're not just online talking all day, but you're also establishing relationship across the world, talking about your health and what your healthcare system needs. You also got a potential minister of health that will be now creating a plan so that when you come into a space, a debate, or whatever portion of the whole campaign where you need to present your plan, you have people lined up. Your administration is already lined up. People are working on those potential administration. So when they come to take over, they already have a plan in place, a tangible, executable plan, not just jab, talking all the time. Sometimes there's a time to talk and there's time for action. And so our plan is now to establish a mock government. I'm not going to give away our plan, but you establish a mock government. Who's going to run education? Who's going to run finance? Who's going to run security? Who's going to be in charge of this and that? And so you start looking for resources for those administrations, or at least start connecting with the right leaders to start finding ways how you can build relationship to put things into play. You can't just inherit a government and to myself, oh, my man Steve, you go take agriculture, Maybon, my man, you go sit over there. That's not how you do things. That's not structure.
So if should you win the elections, would you audit this government?
Absolutely.
Would you go as far as auditing the earlier government?
If need be, yes, indeed.
But primarily, you would audit this government.
Every administration coming in must know what they're inheriting. I cannot buy a house without an inspection. I cannot buy a house without an audit of what's in the house that is being sold to me and the value of those items. We have to know when they say there's $6 million or $200 million in the treasury, you have to audit and make sure the value of what's being said to you on paper is actually in reality. So it's not an attack against this administration. It's just a reality of how things are done. When you come over to be the CEO of a new company, you make sure you get an audit report that's done by two parties. First opinion and second opinion.
Thank you. Just before we go to the phone, are you also willing to make public your assets?
Absolutely. Why not?
Okay.
I can't come in as a vagabond, and after 3 months, I'm worth $80 million when I came in with no money.
Okay. So the Labrampo will know before the elections where you stand financially, what's going on, and all that.
Absolutely.
So we can hold you to these things because you're on record.
It's part of the law.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll turn to Melbourne really quick to get to the phones. We'll post the numbers here. Please call us when you call in, please, because of time. We would like to allocate those in Liberia 30 seconds to a minute. In America, please get to the point.
All right, that's great. So you can place in your call now to 0770 20 31 25, 0770 203125, and you'll be live on Truth FM and talk to our guests on the program, the SKTV. Again, 0770 20 31 25, that's 0770 203125. Please be brief, and yes, just if you want to ask question. If you want to appreciate, you appreciate. So again, 0770 20 31 25. And let me get to the line and pick our first caller. Here the line over the start, Jim. Hello.
Yeah. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name and where you're not from?
This is Boboja calling from New George. I'm interested in the conversation with the lady that you just talking with.
Okay. The Madam Cooper.
Oh, Madam Cooper.
Mm.
Madam Cooper, you have spoken well, talking about Joseph Waka and whatnot. The first question, I have 3 questions, but I'll just summarize them. Madam Cooper, will you get into a ferry to cross the Mafa River? Can you speak any dialect that you can convey to the native people so they can hear you? Will you be able to walk from here to Kawazui or walk from Fasaba to another village?
Okay.
In the forest? I want you to answer those 3 questions for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And to this call, hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, my brother, good evening. What's your name and where you're not from?
Thank you so much. My name is Richard Barish. I call you from Riverview, opposite Stephen Tower Estate.
Okay, Richard, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. A little bit want to disagree with Madam Cooper concerning what she said about Joe Baka being old and he should be put aside in the 2023 election. I will tell you, Madam Cooper, all of you that come here in a race against President Weah, you're not well known. The best person you can use in 2023 to win clearly against Joe Weah is to take Joe Baka to where he cannot reach. If you guys do that, I can assure you will win election. And I had to leave Joseph Waka out. I'm sorry for you guys. Joe Weah will beat your left and right.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. So today, call. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how you doing? What's your name and where you're not from? Okay, go ahead.
The woman, the way she's talking, Joseph Waka was left. You know the US Joseph Waka land. And we want people who learn. We want raw country people. You see how we disgrace from God, we go away from God, or go away from us, that woman. Because you the man, when you not say something to God, you know we're not apologizing to God to say what man you forgive us. That's why today we not know where God is according to Bible. You're doing different things. You better look at our own. So things will go better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. To this call. Hello. Wow, the line is jamming and I don't know. But okay, so keep your calls coming to 0770 20 31 25 and you'll be live on Truth FM 96.1. And to this caller. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, my brother, good evening. What's your name and where you're not from?
Yeah, this is Emmanuel. I call you from Bon County.
All right, go ahead, Emmanuel. I know how Bon County, the rain falling here in Monserrado.
Yeah, the rain is falling in Bon County here.
Okay, that's great. Go ahead and talk to our guests.
Quickly, let me take the honesty to tell Madam Cooper, I thank you very much for our explanation. My brother, let me let Madam Cooper to know because I monitor her research on school discussion. Madam Cooper knows very well that Mr. Joy Manawia going and through the affair of this country as a leader. And I just 2017 election, when they went for the second round, they went and gave that support to Mr. Weah. And today, this country is going the way in which the country will go. So, Madam Cooper, I have reliable for the suffering way the Liberian people are going
So what's your point? We gotta go to another.
2017 was not fine. And my second point here, why her saying that Joe Jumapwaka is full, you don't able to do the affair of this country. I would disagree with her. And they just try it. They don't take Joe Jumapwaka to go 2023 rather. Madam Kopo, I don't care wherever you can go as a CPD or opposition or collaboration party. I'm telling you, if they don't use Joseph Jumapwaka, they'll just forget it like red people.
All right. All of you, yeah. Hello. Yeah. What's your name and where you joining us from? Please be brief, please, man. We beg you all. Okay? Go ahead, bro.
You know, Liberia belongs to the people that will get your people. They let it go through this country. George, we are going to win election for the three. And we're going to put George back because all the people are not paying us down here. America, so they're going to find me to come back. You know, but they're going to have no money to carry it in America and pay that down. We're not going to do it. Even the free session, we're not session for the put George down.
My man, you already saying for your food. Hello? Yeah, how you doing? What's your name and where you joining us from?
And I'm going to my resident here in Tuburu, Bata.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to hand out to Pantera Kubo. You know, I read my horse. You know, when I'm prayer and just in Liberia, you don't put people based on idea. We vote based on popularity. It was like I was the one that's authentic in country like America or other country. But I'm going to be president for Liberia. But again, I'm sorry for Liberia. Why do you say this? And I'm why is I admire you? So say Joseph Waka is old. How about Joe Darling? How about Nete Pelosi? You know, age doesn't matter. I mean, Joseph Waka for me, first being after putting him, but you care about this, the best option for Liberia is the most popular candidate when Joseph was nobody else. Thank you, man. I wish you good luck.
All right, thank you so much. And to this caller, Artist Steve, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Maybe we're going to tell.
How are you, sir?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, how you doing? What's your name and where you joining us from?
Yes, Bob Taylor calling from Painesville.
Okay, Bob Taylor, thank you so much for joining us.
The aspiring Madam Cooper, good luck. But let me be honest, my brother. Look, the opposition is choking. The opposition is not treading the way it's going to tread. They should learn from the Sierra Leoneans. The other Sierra Leonean opposition are moving. They are not talking negativity about their country. These people go abroad, fight for attention. They try all the things they could, lobbying around that the country should not go anywhere, investors should not come. I just listen to Sierra Leoneans. They are saying with all the differences they have, they are calling the international community to come and help. The opposition talking now,
Okay.
come and help their country. So these people are wasting their time. Ethiopia will whip them first round.
All right.
Don't stop.
All right. Thank you so much. So let me get to the caller. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how you doing? What's
Give it to the madam, please. She's Sudanese.
is that? You do what?
Let she take my number and get her support.
Oh, okay. So you want to join her movement, right? All right. So to this caller. Hello. Hello. Sorry, though. I had to pull your the line. Hello. You getting me? Okay. So what's your name and where you joining us from? All right. Go ahead. Mama, you gotta be audible though because we're not getting you. All right. So let me pick the other call. Hello. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank God. What's your name and where you joining us from?
Yeah, this is Brown Tati calling from Capital Bypass.
Okay, Brian Tati. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I want to, ask Madam Cooper. She said that, or she just retired, or we are assimilating for 40 damage. But I don't know that she is aware that in Rwanda, they have 3 layers of elections. They got election for women, exclusively for women. And only women participate. They got another election for disabled people, only for disabled. Then they have general election where both women, disabled, and all other people participate. In
Thank you so much, Brian Tate, for that question. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing? This is Chukuntu.
Okay, Choco, go ahead.
Brother, how you doing?
Yeah, we fine. Thank God.
Yeah, I listen to Madam Cooper on the station, and I hear every time you hear women talking about getting involved in politics, they always come with this revolution perception of segregation, trying to find means of putting women above men. And the election discord and using their shortcomings as a tools. I want to say this one. You had Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was president of this country for 12 unbroken years. Hello.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead. I'm getting you.
Yeah, 12 unbroken years. First of all, the 12 years, all of the women that was in Ellen government, all of the ministers, the senators, the directors, in 12 years, none of them had one baby. One. Under President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the medical situation was the worst, one of the worst in Africa. The child mortality rate was as high, and it was considered among the most corrupt government in the world. Despite them having all of their alleged backing, and have what you call give up all the resources out, they said that when we should get another woman to do the same as Ellen did to us, and then cover it up and during election time, you had more money flying through out of Liberia than any other country in the history or in our history on the Ellen. They said that's why we should put another woman that over there to do again.
Okay.
And she could understand another thing, a point that men has money, women has money. But the fact of what asked MacDella Cooper, when was the last time she was driving a car and pick up another woman that was pregnant?
Okay, all right, Mama, we gotta leave you. Yeah, one can ask all the questions. So, so Steve, I don't know. We can take.
Yeah, let's take 2 more calls and then we'll take you from here and then we'll allow MacDella to answer
Exactly.
questions and these concerns, please. 2 more.
Yeah, go ahead quickly. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Julius Barmy. I'm calling from Reservoir Community.
Okay, Julius, go ahead.
Yeah, you see the notion regarding your country, they are very, very blind. And the second and neighbor blind, people say George and Joseph Newman Barker is old. When you start the match on the whole match, before you can go up. But now we say Gloria is young, we put her as the president. Where are we going now? The border even get international community support. We are even get contact with the people.
So what's your point? You want to bring the other old folks back?
My point is we are not going to jail of the state Joseph Newman Barker as the president for toilet on the state, like, we're not going nowhere.
Okay, all right. So I think I think Steve, I think you gotta take calls for it, and because
Okay, thank you. Let's take this caller quick. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from, please? Hello.
Yes, Steve, how you doing?
Yes, we're doing very well. What's your name? Where you calling from, please?
This is Bud Dignoir, one of the great sponsors of SKTP.
Yes, Mr. Dinois. Go ahead.
Let me come out to say this. So, I have witnessed 3 in my whole entire life. I'm not talking about corrupt elections. It was just one way, but I have witnessed or watched 3 different elections in the Republic of Liberia. 1, 1997 election. 2, 2005 election. 3, 2017 election. Liberian people, not all of us watch and see. Every polls conducted in Liberia on major radio stations, always Joseph Boakai. And there is a saying in Liberia, 1997, you kill my pa, you kill my mom, you kill my wife, you kill my uncle, I will vote for you. 2005, you sponsor war with 10,000, you don't sponsor war with 10,000, we will vote for you. Comes 2017, you know book, you don't know book, we will vote for you. Now, I spent 1.5 months in Liberia. Everywhere that I go, when I ask people that they papeta, you owe, you don't owe, we will vote for you. See what I'm trying to say? There was poll conducted yesterday or the day before yesterday, OKFM. Everybody, 62% of all the callers said Joseph Boakai. You know, when God gave you things to do,
You got one more. You got 10 more seconds, please.
you have your time. When that time comes, you always up there. So, Mrs. Cooper, I don't know you from nowhere. It is better for all Liberians at this time to vote Omen Boakai so that he can pave the way for you young people. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Well, we'll allocate the time for Madam Cooper to answer some of these questions or provide clarity or context to some of the things we've heard from the callers. It's up to you.
Well, yes, the gentleman who called about whether I can walk to certain areas, villages, and towns, we've already done that, and we plan to do it again. So, of course, you don't go into election and say, "Oh, I'm going to walk." You put your boots on. We went to Bapalu. We were there sleeping on the ground until Boto kind of got her votes. We were in the almost close to the border of Sierra Leone. Sometimes car couldn't even go there. So it's not a question of whether we can do it or not. We will have to do it. And the question, I guess, the comments about Joseph Yuma Boakai. No, Joseph Yuma Boakai is a strong force in the opposition bloc. We are not excluding Joseph Boakai from anything that we're doing. So it is not. I've looked at it from more of a care for the pape. Not look. There are people who feel this sentiment, and we can't go into this conversation right now about who are the people and what we need to figure out who would be the best person to fight and win this upcoming election. It's not about sentiments. It's not about, oh, I let the pape, so let's put the pape in the front. Even the pape, when they attack the pape, on this debate stage, the pape will not be able to get them fire back. You throw fire, you throw fire. When they throw fire, you gotta be ready to throw fire back. So this is what we're looking for right now. And I know Honorable Boakai. I've gone to events with him. I've been around him. And I'm not discrediting him for what he's able to do. We're gonna take care of the pape. For everybody who feel like, oh, MacDella Cooper saying that they will not carry Joseph Boakai. No matter what happens, Honorable Boakai is with us. Who will take care of the pape. Even my Ellen, our former president, will take care of her. So it's not about that. But there are times when we have to stand up as a people and do what's right for ourselves. Not to being, I'm not here to fight against Joseph Boakai. We're opposition. We're not fighting against each other. We're not. I'm sitting my position. We're not fighting against each other. So they might not be so sensitive to say, oh, MacDella Cooper say, we're not carrying Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai is a force within the opposition bloc. He will us, we will him. But we need fire to fight fire. These people are going to do everything they can to try to win the 2023 election. They already have printed money. They're printing coins. They will do everything they can to win because it's benefit to those who are holding the position of authority, who holding different agencies to keep with a good lifestyle and the benefits that I gave them, but they're not giving like people what they want. This should be our focus. Our focus is who is strong amongst the rest of us within the opposition to stand up against this administration. That's what we're looking for. We're not going to fight amongst ourselves. So if they misunderstood my position around finding the strongest candidate to stand against, who will throw fire for fire, that maybe they misunderstood me. But to clarify, we're not discarding or disregarding Honorable Joseph Yuma Boakai. He's a strong part of the opposition bloc, and we need him on our team. I'm not sure he's the right person to put up front right and to go fight on the battlefield. That's my statement, and I'm sticking with it.
Okay, that's your statement, and you're sticking with that. Well, as we're winding down here, would ask you maybe for your parting comments or anything else you want to add before you leave, because we are almost at the 2-hour mark here.
Right. Look, Stevie, as usual, it was wonderful to talk to you guys. Mayborn, nice to meet you. And we look forward to carry on this conversation because we have to continue to talk. We have to continue to keep the dialogue going so our people can understand and see different sides to the same coins. And so that's why we're here. 2023 is right around the corner. We have to get Liberian people ready to know that They are the reason why we're fighting. We're here as servants, and we're here to fight for the rights of our people, our nation, to make sure I can raise my children in my country. I want to see Liberian living in the diaspora. We have to create a country and put in amenities that they can come home to. Right now, our country is in a deplorable state that those who are working and slaving in the diaspora, they don't have the amenities they used to from the outside. And just to be clear, the term diaspora means scattered people, people who are scattered all over the place. Those scattered people they want to come home. And we have to build a country with amenities that they're accustomed to in the foreign lands they've been living. Right now, like bro, water, no, like thank God it's rainy season now, so my coffee working. But sometimes no light, internet not working. You think somebody will leave the diaspora where they are to come home to a country where there's nothing? We want to build this country so that our valuable children can come home and add to our economy. So with this said, I want to thank you very much for including me today and having me on your platform. I appreciate it very much. And may God bless all those people who are listening, even those who call in. And I hope there'll be no hard feelings and no misunderstanding about my comments and statements. I've said what I've said, and I stand behind everything I said.
Well, thank you so much, and we definitely look forward to having you back on SKTV where you will do the interpretation of that song. You'll be held in contempt.
Exactly. I'm going to find out which dollar is in first, then I'll get my interpretation. Hopefully, I know it's not in Gribble, because if it's in Gribble, I will understand it. So it's not in Gribble.
Yeah, and one of the caller was asking you as to which dollar you speak.
I speak Gribble. Yeah.
Because one of them will
Yeah, I picked it up from one of the callers. I wanted to whether you make it seem like you can speak Liberian English or you can speak Dale or whatever.
Well, maybe they may listen to the whole show. You know, somebody wrote me after the last show, said, "Thank God you eat your school fee." Look, I eat my school fee, but at the same time, I forget my village I'm coming from. Maybe they may listen to the whole show. I won't make it sound like insulting nobody, but
yeah, I know. But anyway, thank you so much, Angel, and we hope that in fact I know you want to know as to how I managed to know your name, Angel, right?
Right. Research. You guys do amazing research. I appreciate that. I like people who have facts behind backing everything they say.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, that's great.
Weekend.
All right, you too.
Yep. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was our guest, Madam MacDella Cooper. Melbourne, just before you leave, what do you make of the actions today? Before we go, we'll give the announcements and we'll be out.
Yes. Yes, Steve. Actually, it was so dope on today. The lady actually she really on top of game. She understand about politics, and she really understand everything. But she said it all. I think the only way that they can get rid of the government, or maybe defeat of the current president, except when they come together as a force. But other than that, I think it'll be difficult for them, because a divided horse can stand alone, or in fact can stand, because when you are divided, definitely there'll be a lot of people going, so other people going on the other side, and because of that, maybe the government may likely use that to also win the election. So they got to be careful, and they got to know as to how they're going about forming their collaboration, forming their team. So I want to say thanks to our follower, those of you that in Radio Land, and for those of you that also following us via the SKTV, I want to say thanks to all of you. And Steve, I want to say thank you so much, even though you've been, I don't know where you've been a few times, but thank you all. I think that you're back.
My man, don't put me in a situation I can't handle it. You let noise business, my man. But let me get my perspective on her really quick here. I think there is hope for Liberian women. I think Liberian women have had their own struggles, but I also believe that there are good Liberian women, and I do stand with the fact that it must be included in the decision making of our country. I'm 100% support of that. I think it's the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do. I don't think they should be put on the back burner or kick aside. I think they should have a place and a role in our country. I do think so. But I also do think that women should also elevate the conversation by promoting women and, not undermining women's agenda. because we tend to see that, consistently. So I hope that they would get this message and to work together to seek women's agenda as men would seek men's agenda. That's just the fact of the matter. But with MacDella Cooper, I think I like the fact that she has an open mind when it comes to the whole elections and presidents or whatever it is. But I also like the fact that she speaks her mind. She's not playing the regular politics. I like straight shooters. I like people who would talk it as it is and not go behind the horse. You feeling something away, but you can't say it.
And I hope that.
Yeah.
And Steve, let me know what you have. I hope that your people from the other side, because they already started with that Joseph Boaka business. I hope that they will not, because actually, and you just said it all, because politics is stress. So if you can stand the heat, then you get into the fire.
Forget that thing. The noise are even start here. The yo-yo umpa, it will wake up. We're not ready for noisy. The noise will come. That one umpa, forget it. They will get in their feeding. They will bounce. They come by the end of the day. It will be what it is. That one will not work for you. They're not ready to start yet. They're not even ready yet. But quick announcement. Or let me do the other news quick. Then we'll go. In other news, our boy Makie.
May I say another letter again?
In other news, our boy Makie got President Joe. We are in a situation he can handle.
Yep.
I challenge President George. We are openly to play the fool and not fire Makie. The visit for the American ambassador to President Joe Weah house. That visit should be looked at very carefully. It doesn't make any sense. American men will not come tell you something secure and give you a call and leave from a place of comfort where he feels it's more, convenient and more security, and go to President Joe Weah. President Joe Weah know what is saying in that meeting. President Joe Weah must fire Makie. Makie will be fired. And when Makie is fired, Makie, Bill Toure, Toure or whatever it is, that grown man, I look at somebody that he can born and call himself a man junior or things, there's something wrong with all of them. Makie and that other one, Serena Sivan, I don't think he'll be going to the hotel anymore in what playing in Turkey. He will not in Turkey. In Turkey, he will not be going there anymore to be meeting to Ramadan Hotel. He will not meet or need Ellen Crawford again anymore because he's screwed. But these guys must not even run for electoral offices in the country. These guys must not run. NEC must make sure they deny them. These guys are common. They are international criminals. They are national criminals. They are recognized. And they should have nothing to do with anything that has to do with public or whatever. Let them go sit and make fun. Let them go make fun. At time for Serena Sifa to go make fun. Even to teach high school, said them not teach high school because they recognize criminals. They recognize criminals and crooks. Somebody try to make the argument say, "But why Prince Johnson in there?" Prince Johnson was elected before the sanction, not after the sanction, and then went and get elected. Let's get this fact. The Senate should have acted, but because you got Crook Abbott who sits there and out there to say something in something, but he and Buffer Chimo, but let be bouncing around. They will see what's up. They will understand.
All right, so Steve, tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have Tyler Kuyongpa as our guest. Wow. Tyler Kuyongpa, for those of you who don't know, all of the young kids, is the wife of former Kuyongpa, the famous Kuyongpa who got killed by members of President Doe, soldier or whatever it is, the coup in 1985. She will be our guest tomorrow. We will have a very stimulating conversation. Please come on and listen. You will get some facts from her. You will get some reality from her. And we will get to understand some things. I look forward to a very good, interactive show tomorrow. I do look forward to it. But in the meantime, our Earth President Joe, we are so much better than BC. Let your boys go. Let your boys go. And don't bring noise behind yourself because you will be disgraced for that. President George, we can go to market.
Thank you so much, Steve, and good night from our end here in Liberia.
Yes, my man. Good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thanks to our people for listening and our viewers. Just before we leave the internet here. We want to say thanks to all of you, our viewers and our listeners. We'll be on tomorrow the same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's when we start. 1 p.m. Central Standard Time and 11 a.m. Arizona time. We'll be here tomorrow. I will be here. By the grace of God, I'll be your host here tomorrow for that show. Come tomorrow so you can learn some things and you can understand some things. But as it sits, President George Weah can decide to play games all he wants. President George Weah is in some real situation that he can't handle. He doesn't want to let MacGill go. They want to be passing the rhyme, making funny little deals. It will not work, President George Weah. It will not work. It will not work. It will not work. That funny thing where you let it put your hand in, it will not work, Chief. If I were you, I respect myself. This time that you need to respect yourself and do what is right. If you never do what is right in your life, do what is right. Because if you don't do what is right, we are saying it again. Your sedition there. Some of you who praise and worship MacGill, some of you opposition members who been eating MacGill money, and you know yourself very, very well. President George Weah needs to fire MacGill, or MacGill needs to resign and go. And you need to go make fun. Nowhere around government. If you bring MacGill behind closed door for you to still be doing business, our partners and our friends will know. In that way, you will be screwed. If President George Weah don't get this message, that's fine. We are giving the call again. We told you, yeah, one of my sisters that used to be on Facebook, one of my friends, one of my good friends, she used to be on, yeah. We told her about saying, but you're lying. And then they're lying. Okay. They drop it. I can hear her making noise again. I can hear friend again. And I'm telling you, the disgrace that comes from President Weah, if he refuses, you see that disgrace. It will not only be him. If he thinks he will eat some of his son Chan Weah money, let him try it and see. Let him try the one and see. He better not fire MacGill. Fool around MacGill. Fool around MacGill. And the funny part about it, the interesting part, if your game MacGill too much time, MacGill will spend because MacGill know where all the parties are buried. So either way you put it, you eat some beautiful nonsense, George Weah. Next time your leader stealing business, we told you from day one, you'll stop stealing. You'll get serious. You'll stop stealing from your own people. You'll get serious. You'll say, we hate you. Your minions there on Facebook, passing around making noise. Bunch of people that don't understand what's going on. Passing around when you talk one to talk far. When you talk one to lie on you. When you tell say, you not respect the president. If your president is a rogue and a criminal, I will say the president is a rogue and a criminal. I don't care. If you say I don't respect the president, that is the president business. Donald Trump is a crook in the country. We can call him crook. That Joe Weah. Lead that team, man. Yeah, Google president who for Google country who making Google decision to benefit people's life. We can call them out. Like Joe Weah, I can call out if Joe Weah misbehave. I can tell you he misbehave. That means we'll go behind her and go discuss that one. I will talk it right in your faces. If George Weah is a crook, I will say he's a crook. I will say it. Anywhere I go, I will say it. May you don't be my friend at your business. You want to take it personal, take it personal. But I don't shy away from the facts. I don't. They see where I've said from day one. If I can call Joseph Boaga, who can burn my mom and my pa, I can call Joseph Boaga smooth crook. That Joe Weah I can call crook. I better go do something different. I'm saying President Joe Weah needs to fire MacGill now and stop fooling around because this will haunt him. This particular thing, if he fools around, we are saying it again because when it falls down to there tomorrow, we'll be saying I'm laughing. Me, I will laugh. I am very happy for the sanction. Let me tell you, I even get my position on it. Me, I'm happy for the sanction. 100% happy. Very, very happy. I'm excited for the sanction. I am. And I know for a fact that most sanctions are rolling. That common Buga dancer again, I'm begging your ear. That common Buga dancer, me against space on me. That common Buga dancer, I can call on. I don't want nothing from Joe Weah. I will care less. I don't want nothing from him. I don't want government job from him. If my pa, that role, I will tell my pa he's a role. Me, I will do it. Because how it's supposed to be. We Liberians will let them fool around. When somebody doing wrong because we like them or because we benefit from it, then we'll make it a little fun. Joe Weah is a Come on, book out there. So he needs to get it act together and get it together. Because they didn't see if you try Nathaniel Makie with space. Nathaniel Makie with space. My man, they can cause me all they want, brother. You know what kind of causing and I get. You know what kind of thing they say about me. You see me at work. Let them cause. Let them say anything they want to say, brother. Anything. Me and I worry. I strict. I cool. I strict. I cool. All I'm saying, President George, we have my advice to you. Whether you say we like you, we don't like you, my advice to you, fire Nathaniel Makie and move on. Again, fire Makie, move on. Fire Sereno C4, move on. Fire Tuale, move on. Be on record and fire them. Yeah, yo, President George, we are. Be on record and fire them. Don't keep them around. You keep them around, you'll bring noise in your camp. You'll bring noise behind you. You don't want a noise. Any other noise that will come on you, it not only come on you. It will come on your wife too. Let me get you the call. You think I will follow? It will come your wife. The only person that will be spared from that noise will be your son, Chan. We are. If you want to try to put it to bed, go do all the lobbying. It will not help you. Keep the men around you. Yeah. Keep them around you. Today, this video go on record because it's on YouTube. Other video that we've made before and told you exactly what will happen is been happening. But we are saying to you, the sanction is good. Makie is closely watched. Stop having meeting with Makie. Start having meeting with bit I know 12 or whatever he is, a grown man who look at himself and call himself your junior, and he can burn you. That's to tell you that something is not right with him anyways. Because I don't know what is going on out there. But let all of them go sit down somewhere. And there is a formal push to push the thing forward. Let me give you the code. Because Uber will drive it where we go. There's a formal push. If Makie is going to run, if Makie is going to run, let him go later in a village that he come from. He's not going to run. There is a formal push to build Tuale or whatever it is, Taole or Tuawe or whatever it is. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. Jai need funny now, I ain't looking funny and get steep. If he thinks he's going to run in Riverside, he might not waste it down. He might not waste it down. There are formal, there's serious conversation going on. Next time, oh, not stay again. And with serious conversation has also going on. Sereno C4 must be disbarred. He cannot practice law in our country again. Let him go sit down somewhere. Make fun on the village. Where in the village there? He can go make cassava farm and nobody will buy him. He can't sell the cassava, we'll buy it from him. That one an endless living, so we'll buy it from him. We now offer that thing again. Those 3 men need to go. Samuel 12 passing around talking nonsense. Samuel 12 passing around talking nonsense. Let me get Samuel 12 one call before I close for the day. They seen rope that can hand monkey. It can hand baboon. Samuel 12. And you can be coming on here and be commenting funny thing, eh? Samuel 12. He can come on SKT commenting funny thing. I'm glad I don't know if my friend, but Sekou Kalasko, I'm glad he slowed down. He only prison worshiping Joey at that school. Keep it up. It could idea more for anything here. Because and I'm pretending you go sit down. You stay young, get a lot to do. But Samuel 12, I see Jefferson Koji do bouncing yesterday. Talking about he want to clarify thing, he want to do that one, he want to do that one. Koji, nobody's stupid here yet. Nobody's stupid here. When somebody respect you, and I mean they're afraid of you yet. Stop talking too much. Go sit down. It mean that you have forgotten. No, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. So don't be too happy and be talking plenty. You're not revolutionizing everything here again. Go sit down somewhere. Relax yourself, Koji. My last thing to our boy who vet. Because what you need, can't go for your money. What he need, our boy in here. All my girl, people that are paying. All of you that Makie get on payroll. All of you that Makie get on payroll. You start looking for different contractor, yeah? Or go somewhere to look for different contract. All the money Makie promise you, you will not get it back. Not taking it from the bank, yeah? You will not get it back. Okay? So you keep making noise and doing what you gotta do. Well, thank you. Let's have a good weekend. I'm going to have a good weekend. It's good to be back. Tomorrow we'll be back on with Tyler Kuyongba, the wife of the late Thomas Kuyongba. Will be on with her. And this is how I sign off. Bye.
You don't even know my story. You don't even know your story, oh yeah. Oh yeah, you know, on the day, I be a loca. So moral. You post a new car on Facebook. But that's so la la. You work the butter. Loving and acting jealous, say you photo. My advice for you in my way and gutter.